nonsense. I am out in the former Laughing Place Garden. I guess it's kind of still the Laughing Place Garden. Anyhow, this is a live stream. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Julie. And we are live streaming. Careful! And my kids are playing volleyball out on the big lawn. And it's awesome. So great. So, yeah. I had wanted to come out and enjoy the evening and then listen to you two giggly goons out there being silly. So anyway, so they're out there playing volleyball. And I'm just here on the chair. So today, as per the title of tonight's live stream, so schools have changed. Now look, I know, I'm 44. How did this happen? When did this happen? Why did this happen? I'm 44. Hi, Rhonda. Thanks for being here. So I'm 44. And, you know, obviously, it's been a long time since I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, all of that. But, like, in my brain, hi, Bonnie, in my brain, that's basically, like, yesterday. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, in some ways. So we take Mariah today. Oh, hi, Dennis. Thanks so much for being here. So we take Mariah to the open house or orientation, whatever. Because now, instead of going to the middle school, she's not going to the junior high. That's a big deal. So we go and we're cruising around. And anyway, so we find all the stuff. We do all the stuff. Hi, Lab. I'm glad you're here. And sorry, you guys aren't on the tripod. I had the phone charging and then it just like wasn't charging. I had it on the charger and I was like, it's almost time. Why isn't this thing doing? Why are we only at like 35%? It was not all the way plugged in. Somehow it had come like half unplugged and I hadn't noticed. So, alas, you guys are on the charger out here. So, anyhow, it's not been quite that long for me, Dennis, but it's been a minute. It's been a long time since junior high. So anyhow, we're at the orientation and we're going around to the different classes and we're hold on, let me do something real quick. There we go. Okay, so anyway, we're going around finding all of her classes and, you know, doing all that kind of thing, meeting teachers, etc. And then we realized that, because we're like, well, where's your locker? And we looked on her email thing and her setup on iCampus or whatever it is they use, and it didn't have any locker information. And I'm like, okay, so do you not have a locker? No, I guess not. I don't know. So I'm like, all right, well, we've found all the classes. Hi, Pamela. I'm so glad you're here. We've found all the classes. Let's go up to the front office and figure out the locker situation. We had already been to like the locker room in the gym. So she'll have that locker. And then she also has orchestra and there's lockers in there. Hi, Judy. Lockers in there for the instruments. Mariah plays violin. But no, like, locker. And I don't know how it is elsewhere, but in the U.S., in my experience, you've got lockers, school lockers, like a combination lock on it. Put your stuff in there. And that's, of course, what I always had. And anyway, so we go to the front office, and we're like, hey, how's it going? We need a locker. And she's like, well, or I was like, we don't know where her locker is. And she's like, well, we don't actually assign lockers anymore, as we've just walked through hallway after hallway after hallway of lockers, rows upon rows, like they were corn in a field, lockers. And I'm like, okay, so did we need like special request? She's like, well, no, what we're going to do, this is how we do it now. She's got a locker for gym, and there's a locker for band or orchestra. And what we want you to do is try out those lockers for like, 3 or 4 days and see how you feel about those. And if those work for you, blah, 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 blah. And then, if that's not quite enough or you're comfortable with lockers and like, still want to, then come on down to the office and we'll get you a locker. And I'm like, why? And she's like, well, most kids don't get lockers anymore. They don't want them. What do you mean you don't want a locker? You're going to carry all your stuff to all your classes? She says, well, no. You see, she was probably, around my age. When we, talking to me, were going to school, you had all your big textbooks. But now we have Chromebooks. And it, hit me so hard. I was like, what? Because you still see some textbooks, like when we're dumpster diving and stuff like that, the public schools. But they're more often the, math ones where you tear out a page. You know what I mean? And it hit me, I haven't actually seen, history, biology, stuff like that, big textbooks in quite a while. And she was like, yeah, especially since COVID, we've basically switched over to MacBooks or whatever they're called, or Chromebooks rather. And the kids are allowed to have backpacks again in class. And made it sound like we hadn't been able to. And I'm like, whatever. I had my backpack in every class all through high school. So, no. You would just go to your locker in between classes, drop stuff off, pick stuff up, whatever. But, yeah, they have... Oh, hi, Melinda. Thanks for being here. They have Chromebooks. And that covers a lot of the whatever would have been in the textbooks. Oh, sorry. Thirsty. Holy cow. And that was just not at all something I had thought of. And so they don't do all the big textbooks anymore. Everything, not everything, but a lot is online in their Chromebooks, or they print off papers. Like one of the teachers, I can't recall which class it was, but was it for history? Yeah, it was for history. She would print off, she said she'd print off papers that they would put in their binder. And so they did need to have a little 1/2 binder. But yeah, most of the classes, you're not going to have that big old textbook. So there are these rows and rows of abandoned lockers. And I can't even imagine what that's like in between classes. Oh, I agree, Pamela. I'd rather have the books, except for, do you remember how much it hurt the shoulders? Yeah, Reggie?
Have some more ice cream once I get back.
That's not mine. Lulu's. Yeah, you'll have to ask Lulu. But yeah, spiral notebooks, they have those too. Oh, hot flashes. Jesus God. They've been hitting me so hard. I just barely, got another box of my menopause supplements. Not hormones, but supplements. And I think it's just taken a minute for those to get back in my system. Hot flashes off and on all day today. Ugh. But anyway, so yeah, I remember, these crazy heavy backpacks, and especially if me, you had to walk home from school or walk to school and home from school with these freaking heavy backpacks and your shoulders and your back. Good Lord. Anyway, so we would, in between every class, yeah, you had to go to your locker. You had to drop stuff off. You had to pick stuff up and whatever. And there would be all this bustling and you're trying to get to and especially if you had the lockers where there were top lockers and bottom lockers. Where are you going? Okay. You're done already?
40 minutes.
Oh, cool. Get lots of water. And so anyhow, you remember bottom lockers and top lockers? Oh, that was no fun at all. unless of course you had the top locker. Even then, not necessarily always fun. But if you got stuck with the bottom locker, which I did at least once, that was awful. That was awful. And there'd be like people standing at the locker all chitty chat and a couple lockers open. And you're like, I got like 2 minutes to get to biology and I got to get in there and get my thing. Ugh. So I just can't even imagine what it's like now in between class time. You know, because like there would be that kind of din of noise, you know, that just kind of hum and crash and bang of lockers, 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 lockers opening, lockers closing, lockers opening, lockers closing. They don't hear that noise, that sound. They don't hear it. Weird, right? Like all these rows of lockers. And then in fact, she told me that so few people were using them that they actually only utilized one wall of lockers now. They would only assign lockers over there. Whether you're in 8th grade, 9th grade, doesn't matter. They only use that one wall of lockers. When there are hallways and hallways of lockers. It's very strange. And so it's hitting me like times have changed. Now, obviously they have. There's all kinds of stuff now that I did not deal with. And hallelujah, glad I didn't deal with when I was in school. But sometimes this kind of thing just really like just knocks you over and you realize just how different things have gotten. And it's like some things just seem like they'll be forever. Things like lockers. I never would have imagined that we'd be in a time and place when kids just aren't using lockers. That doesn't mean nobody ever uses them, but very different. Oh, Pamela, you used book bags? Oh, your poor hands. You know, Judy, that's the thing though, is we didn't. So in each class, you're asking, you know, what do I need? What do I need? What do I need to bring? This, that. And most of them didn't really want you to bring much. It mostly is just on the Chromebook. For a lot of the class here, you know, obviously every state, every school district, whatever's going to be a little bit different. But here, no, it's mostly all on the Chromebook. Like, one class was like, yeah, bring a dry erase marker and a spiral notebook. And the other one's like, just the 1/2 binder and some loose leaf paper. And then none of the others wanted us to bring anything. Nothing. Very strange. Very, very strange. Hi, Phyllis. Thanks for being here. Yeah, that's the thing. Rhonda, what about their coats? What about their coats? I live in Utah. Yeah, it's hot as blazes in summer, but then we get snow and ice in winter. Where do you put your coat? You just take your coat with you all day? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. I have no idea. Although, honestly, a lot of kids, you know, either they're on the bus or they're getting dropped off. And so they're not really wearing coats because they're not outside. The schools here almost always are like entirely indoors. You might have to, you know, walk to like one outbuilding, but it's like a 3-minute walk. And then you're in a building again. So unless you've got to walk home, I don't know, I guess you don't need it. Or maybe you can put it in your gym locker. But then what if you don't have gym that semester? I don't know. I'm going to have to figure that out. I really don't know. So Bonnie, so with the tablet or not tablets, the Chromebooks. So there's different options. Like if you just absolutely don't want your kid to have a Chromebook, then they can get paper packets. But even then, it's still not like a lot of books. It's packets. But I know that they have programs where you can get like assistance, you know, get a waiver or something like that, so that the school pays for your Chromebook. I know that what we do is it's weird. Like they do you pay a $30 insurance, but then the school pays for the rest. And so I don't know if that's like across Utah, but really I think all we have to pay, in fact, I don't even know if you need waivers anymore, because I think the schools mostly provide them, and you got to pay the insurance thing. Otherwise, if you break the Chromebook, then you've got to pay $300. But the idea is that you keep it until you graduate. Yeah. You stick with the same Chromebook till you graduate. And Lulu did. She had the same Chromebook till she graduated, and now we own it. So I don't know if that's just here. I don't know what it's like in other states. Maybe you guys want to tell me. Oh, yeah, see, that's what I was thinking, Judy, that a lot of places will, the schools will cover you if you're not able to afford, you know, the tablet or the Chromebook. Yeah, Melinda, that has all changed. I don't know about in other states or across the country, but the cell phones, yeah, that some bill or policy or whatever went through this year. And so they're not actually allowed to have their cell phones on them. Yeah, but I have my own thoughts on that. And we have to pay school fees on top of property tax. And with the shit that goes on in school now that they're not doing a whole hell of a lot about actually addressing, yeah, I've got my own thoughts on that. Should kids have their cell phones out during class? Absolutely not. Should they have them out in between classes? No, I don't think they should even have them out at lunch. But I want my kid to have their phone. For instance, if you have a period situation and you are bleeding through your pants, you do not want to have to go all the way to the office to use the phone to call your family. That will destroy a kid's life. So for an emergency, yeah, I want them to be able to have their phone. And then, God forbid, if the shooters come to town, which, I mean, come on. How many times have our schools been locked down? And we've had, anyway, America, woo! So, yeah, no. My kid's going to have their phone so they can at least say bye to me. You know what I mean? But I've also told them, if your phone gets taken away from you, that's on you. Because that means you broke the rule that you and I established. Our extrajudicial rule that we've established. Where your phone should have been in your backpack, your pocket, whatever, on airplane mode, not being used at all. At all. Because it's only there for emergencies. So I absolutely understand why they're implementing this kind of thing. I get where they're coming from and wanting to rein things back in as far as cell phones and have kids be able to focus again and teachers not to be, losing their minds and, be there for education. I absolutely get that. But at the same time, I think we're kind of overlooking some other things. Yeah. And just kind of hoping for the best. Hi, Kathy. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, Judy, there are some that do that. That's not specifically the way they're doing it here. You're just not allowed to have the cell phone. I don't know what their plan is as far as where they expect you to put it or whatever. But they're also not going to look through your pockets to see if you have one. Haven't yet passed that yet. Although some lunatics are trying to bring back corporal freaking punishment in school. No one is touching my kid. No. God, no. But anyhow, so yeah, obviously they're not going to be searching through your pockets. And if it were to get to that, then my kids are not going to public school anymore. That's just, yeah. Bad enough that I never know if they're going to come home alive every damn day going to public school. So, but anyhow, so that's my thought is, yeah, it should be on airplane mode. It should not be out for anything other than an emergency. And that's that. So yeah, if it gets taken away, then it's because they had it out. And that's on them. Yeah, Dennis, I remember that in the old days. Yeah, we had drug sniffing dogs go through our schools. In fact, that's how a neighbor friend of mine got expelled, was because they were doing the drug sniffing dogs and found a pistol in his locker. And this is, Jesus, 30 years ago, at least, before all of the, every week school shooting situation that we now live in, this paradise in the greatest country in all the world. Greatest. So, yeah. Yeah, no, Bonnie, no. In Utah, I don't know what their deal is, but no, you have to pay school fees on top of property taxes. It's weird. It's very weird. It wasn't that way in California. I won't have kids in school too much longer, Lab. Reagan is going to be a junior this year, can you believe? And then Mariah's going into 8th grade, I think. So 5 more years. That's crazy. Yeah, it hits me sometimes. I'll just be sitting, just chilling, and then it just hits me where we're at. Kathy, I've been on for 22 minutes. Our public schools, you do have to pay the insurance, Judy. The schools, yeah, they'll give you the option, opt in or opt out. Actually, I think it's basically just opt out when it comes to the Chromebooks. I think it's just kind of a given at this point, especially since COVID, that you're just gonna get one, and if you're not, then you're gonna opt out. But yeah, we sign an insurance agreement every year. And that $30, I don't know what price it'll be this year, but that's what it was last year and the year before. $30 is the insurance, and that covers the whole thing, anything that happens to it, even if it gets lost. But if you don't pay the $30, then you're liable for it, and it's like $300. Yeah, did you watch that one, Phyllis? So this morning, I got up, got out there, and boy, did I work. I really don't know if how I'm gonna walk tomorrow, if I'll be able to stand up straight. Right now I'm feeling okay. And got all cleaned up and whatever, but I don't know how tomorrow's gonna go. I don't know. But I do know I'll be putting that video up tomorrow of everything I got done this morning in the front yard. And then I fully plan tomorrow to be working outside again for at least a couple of hours. Yeah. And finish up some of what I was working on this morning. And then further on into the next project. I've got to do it pretty early and pretty quick because tomorrow's going to be freaking hot. First day of school. Crazy hot it's going to be, which is a bummer. But yeah, Kitty was out with me this morning while I worked in the garden, and it was wonderful. All right, Rhonda, I got a funny story. So we moved here from California. We didn't even have winter coats because we didn't need them till we moved here. And that first year, well, it just so happened that when our family relocated here to Utah, was one of the coldest and worst winters they had had in ages and ages and ages. With freezes, so many like freezes and just crazy. Well, my brother, the one I always talk about, that's just older than me and my bestest best friend, he liked to take his showers in the morning, like before school. That had been kind of his thing, you know. Well, that ended up having to change. So this one morning, shortly after we had moved here, there had been another big storm and another freeze and all of this. And he washed his hair in the morning. And then we went out and we were walking to school, and his hair froze. His hair froze. We didn't have, beanies and hats, and we didn't have any of that. We had just come from California and didn't really have money or any of that to run out and buy all the stuff, It was a circumstance. And he broke off a piece of his hair. I kid you not. He broke off a piece of hair. Isn't that crazy? It was one of the worst winters that Utah had. Now, it's very strange. We have, it's climate change, but much milder winters now. They're very weird. The biggest thing that we deal with in winter, it gets cold. Yeah, there's some snow, some ice, but the main thing that we deal with now is the bad air. Because during the winter, especially like in January and February, you just can't breathe outside because the inversion, the air pollution, and then it's all held in by the mountains all around us. And it is just awful, just absolutely awful. Yeah, Dennis, as far as getting personal attention from the teachers, these teachers do the best they can. They are overworked. They are underpaid. That is a chronic condition across America. We don't focus on the right things. But we're getting a grand, massive golden ballroom at the White House. Yeah. But not free school lunches for the kids that are starving. But anyway. What do you need?
The meteor shower's tonight.
Oh, it's tonight?
100 meteors.
Yeah, but you'd have to go up into the mountains to be able to see it. School starts tomorrow.
For the kids.
Yeah, I got to get them up in the morning.
What if I go?
You're going to have to ask Daddy.
Okay. Text him.
Or see if Emma can go. Apparently, tonight, I think I had it in my calendar, but I must not have had an alarm. Yeah, I'm in a live stream. Lulu says hi. Olivia says hi. But tonight is that meteor shower. But you'd have to... What? What's wrong? What?
Are you not listening?
I don't hear what they're doing. What?
Crying.
They're crying? Is it a little kid?
Their alarm's off.
Okay. I guess the neighbors are crying or something. Yeah, I guess I didn't hear or understand what was going on. But anyway, yeah, kids crying. But Lulu says their parental figure is out there. God, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, so the meteor shower's tonight. But that's like, we have school tomorrow. I gotta wake the kids up at 6. Yeah, I don't know. Well, hello, Joe Ward. Thank you so much for being here all the way from Australia. Oh, I'm so glad you could join us. Judy, I got my first cell phone in 99. Or it might have been like late 98, early 99. But anyway, during my senior year. Hope you guys are hydrating. Melinda. Yeah, I can't imagine doing that if one of our family members owned a beauty shop. Oh, they'd tell us what was what, I bet. But yeah, it was so cold. It was so cold. Oh, look, one of the lights turned on. They're on the bottle tree. Um, but yeah, we didn't know what to do. We were, did he freak out? Not immediately. It was just kind of shocking. Everything was so shocking. Moving to a new place, crazy culture shock, you know, and moving is hard. Moving's hard. Uprooting. And there was only like 2 months, maybe 3 months left of that school year. No, couldn't have been that. No, it was. It was. There was like 3 months left of that school year when we moved. Excuse me. So that was really, it was rough. That's awesome, Judy. How exciting. Yeah, Bonnie, it was, I remember, it was scary um back in the day, having them come and search the lockers and stuff. It's weird because even if you knew you had nothing to worry about or shouldn't have anything to worry about because you weren't doing anything, it's still, when they would bring the dogs, the sniffer dogs, it still kind of made you feel nervous, scared, worried that somehow maybe someone would plant something in your locker for whatever reason, and oh no, you're doomed. Yeah. So, Judy, as far as contacting our kids at school, it's funny that you bring that up. And so, when I was talking to Mariah earlier today about, or was it last night? No, it was yesterday. Sometime yesterday, I was talking with her about the phones and my expectations and requirements for having the phone there, and for just emergencies only, whatever. But as I'm talking to her and laying down the law about all this, it did cross my mind, like, what if I need to get in touch with them? What if I need to tell them something? What if this? What if that? And then the reality, the truth came crashing into my brain and said, Julie, call the front office. You get so used to having that access to your kids and knowing in the back of your mind that if you were to text them or message them or call them about anything that was not an emergency, all you're doing is interrupting their day. But I mean, at the same time, like when it was Olivia, there were some different circumstances with, mental health, safety, well-being, and that kind of thing. And so it was kind of more necessary to check in regularly. But we also had some accommodations and stuff through the school for that. So, a little bit different. But yeah, it was just like, okay, yeah, you need to get a message to them. Call the school. Call the school and they'll have a TA run a note over, or they'll call them on the intercom or whatever. You'll be just fine. Yeah, it was funny though that I had to think about it. You know what I mean? Dennis is cooking lasagna. Yummy. I had chilaquiles. It was delicious. So good. Oh, Phyllis, that's wonderful. Renee is such a great cook. I love seeing all of the pictures of her food, her creations, all of that over on Instagram. Very lucky. Very lucky. Yeah, Judy, that was how that's how it was. You would just call, and then they would either call the classroom to call the teacher, or they would call them over the intercom thing, depending on what your school has. Or if they couldn't get through to them that way, like if they're in band or orchestra, but especially band, it is so hard to get through to them. It's very frustrating. And in that case, they'll have one of their TAs run off to the other side of the school and pass on the message. And then that child can, in between classes, or if it's like really important, they can, get a note and come to the office, but whatever, or in between classes, then they can come to the office and use the phone there and call and suss it out, So other than emergency situations and active shooting situations, which, as soon as school starting up again across the country, we start tomorrow, but we start really early here in Utah. It's bizarre. It seems like it's earlier every year. But how long do you bet? And what a horrible thing to bet about. And I understand that. I acknowledge that. But I also have kids in public school. So some of us, we got to have the gallows humor. Otherwise, we just never let our kids out of the house. But how long do you think it'll be before some wacko does it? The inaugural active shooter situation for the year 2025. I don't know. Yeah. It's funky. Not funny, but funky. Because when I was first enrolling Olivia in kindergarten a million years ago, it's not something I ever would have thought I was going to be worried about. Yeah. You would cry, taking the kids to school, but it was because it was, they're not babies anymore and we're on to this next part of life and oh my God, not because, they might not come home alive. Yeah. Oh, it's a wacky time. Yeah, see, that's yeah, that's interesting, Judy. Yeah, because okay, so like in California, yeah, they start school in September. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about Utah. It doesn't make sense, and especially because it's still so hot through the rest of August and even into early September, but definitely this part of August is still going to be so hot, and it just doesn't make sense. Like even so one of the rooms that we went into that was in like an auxiliary building, that Mariah doesn't even have classes in there this term, but she wanted to know where it was and whatever. And so we go in there and yeah, it was feeling quite warm. And they had even brought in like supplementary air conditioning units to make it bearable in there. So I don't know what their thinking is, what their logic is. If any of you happen to have an idea or know something about that I don't, especially here in Utah or in places where it's just really damn hot, let me know why we're starting so much earlier and earlier, and so like still very much in summer with summer weather, because I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, you got to see the moon, Kathy. I can't see it yet from right here because there's like a building right next to me that blocks it. So we have to like walk down a little ways and then over, and then we can see the moon. But we went out, not last night, I believe it was the night before, or was it the night before that? For the Sturgeon Moon, and just massive. It's huge and very yellow. Very yellow. And the reason they call it the Sturgeon Moon, it's a Native American thing, and it's because that's when like the sturgeon are on, doing their thing, and so that's why it's a Sturgeon Moon. But yeah, very pretty. I would love to go up and see meteor shower tonight, but can't do it. The kids have school in the morning. And that, you know, that's interesting because I know in like a couple of years past, we have gone up and watched the meteor shower. And so obviously that just reiterates the fact that school is just starting earlier and earlier. But I'm glad you're sitting and enjoying the moon, Kathy. What a beautiful thing to do. Happy birthday, Phyllis. Really, Lab? The kids there have already been in school almost 2 weeks? Are they, are they year round? Are they in like a year round school setup? Ah, kitty! Honey! Preciosa, ven aquí! Kitty, kitty, kitty! Ha 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 ha! Yes, Preciosa. Come here, sweetie. Come here. Come say hi. Kitty. Come say hi. But yeah, are they in year round? Because, that's wild. That's really wild. Kitty. Honey. Kitty. Kitty. Now where are you going? She loves to tease me. Interesting, Melinda. And that's another really hot place to live and go to school. So yeah, Melinda says that her grandkids start school tomorrow and they live in Texas. So what is, what is the deal? I don't know. For starting earlier and earlier. Yeah, Judy, the schools here also have air conditioning, but this particular school is like, let's see, at least 50 years old. So a lot of the other schools they've been replacing. They've been knocking them down and building new buildings with much, more heightened security features, which I do appreciate very much, but also with, energy efficiency and better air conditioning and heating and all those kinds of things. Oh, that's fabulous, Kathy. I do love me some tall pine trees. Guys, it's almost time for our Colorado trip. We've had to adjust it, and we just had to adjust it again because we had to shorten it shorten it by like 4. Do I have something on my nose, or is that a shadow? It's a shadow. We had to shorten it by like 4 or 5 days from what I originally planned because my niece is getting married. And there's no way we're going to miss that. Even though I'm super bummed that we're missing out on some of our trip. We'll try to make up for it at another time. But so we shortened it, canceled some stuff, whatever, refigured for the wedding. And then we got the word today that Grandma's funeral, oh, this is going to be wild, is going to be the day before my niece's wedding. It'll be what it'll be. And then the night before that is the viewing. But they are going to have a shorter viewing the morning of the funeral. And so, we'll just have to come home, hurry home the day after our actual anniversary. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. All the driving to get home. And so now, yeah, we're doing more rearranging and changing some stuff up. Because obviously we're not going to miss it. We will be here. But trying to sort some stuff out and find different place to stay because now we've got to change up. Yeah, we'll figure it out and it'll still be wonderful. But then we'll come home and then you got to drive up to thing, and then back to thing, and then the next day to another thing. Oh my God. That Sunday, we are just crashing. We are just absolutely crashing. Not the car. I'm talking like bleh, on the couch all day. Oh, I would love to have it be overcast here. But what the forecast currently says, and I don't put much stock in our forecasting, but it's supposed to rain, I think sometime this weekend. 1 or 2 days this weekend. And I hope so, because I've been transplanting some plants, and or at least digging some up and dividing them, and then just putting them in water while I, wait for an evening when it's cool enough, and la la la. Oh, that sounds fun, Judy. Alien Earth. Ah. Oh, that's cute, Kathy. Well, tell your kitty I said hello. Why didn't you have spring break, Dennis? What a ripoff. Yeah, Bonnie, that is so rough. That is so rough. I know that there are schools, there was a big to-do about it. I believe it was last year. We might have to go in a minute. Somewhere in Southern California. And then I think also in Arizona. Well, anyway, where kids were in school and there was not air conditioning. And it was summertime because they were on like the year-round setup. That's just wrong. That's just, that's dangerous. A burger? Is that what you're eating, Kathy? Or what are you talking about? What are you doing in Pennsylvania, Judy? It's on my list of someday. Someday. Oh, that's lovely. Indoor and outdoor water parks. That's the way. Oh, that sounds amazing. A balcony overlooking the mountains. And then, yes, absolutely, sitting on the balcony, drinking your coffee. I can't tell you. Oh, my gosh. In the morning, sitting out during our recent road trip with my coffee, with the ocean in front of me and the waves and And so doing that in Colorado. Oh, I'm so excited because it's so freaking beautiful. Oh, it's so beautiful. I think we have to go in the house. Maybe in a minute. The mosquitoes. Ugh, freaking mosquitoes. Blah. Ooh, that just reminded me. My brother was telling me about... Two of my brothers were telling me, because we all got together this weekend. It was so much fun. But they were telling me that now they pack... And I can't remember what brand they said they were. I'm going to have to ask. But they found some really good mosquito repellent wipes. So not the spray can, but wipes. And they said they've been very effective. They really like them. And they go camping a lot up in the mountains and, all that kind of thing. And so they found these wipes that they really like. You just wipe it all over, There's your repellent, and it has all the good stuff in it that's effective and whatever, but without having to have the can, which I think is fantastic. Easier to travel with, etc. But I don't know what they were called, and I want to get some, If you guys happen to be familiar with anything like that, mosquito repellent wipes, I'm really interested in trying some out. Ooh, something fun we're going to try out. Now, probably not till I get back. I just don't see it happening until I get back. But I'm going to bring you guys along, and we're going to live stream cleaning my bathtub. Because, all for the purpose, it needs to be cleaned, but also I have this big power spin brush that I'm finally going to try out and do a video of. I'm so excited. And I bought it. I bought it myself. I had been wanting it for a while. I had seen it on a couple of commercials and a couple of different things, and ones that were similar. And then I saw it at Lowe's, and I was like, I just really need to get this. And I ended up ordering one. And we're finally going to do it. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Yeah, I'm really excited, Kathy. The only thing I wish is that it was one of the kind that you can add like an extender, like a long handle extender or something like that, because this, it's not. It's handheld, and that's fine for some things, but I also want to try out one of those ones that's like got a long extender handle to, easy to reach these hard to reach places and stuff like that. I really, yeah, I want that. But I have not yet figured out how we are going to live stream cleaning the bathtub safely. If you guys come up with any suggestions, ideas, thoughts. So obviously I'll have the tripod, but like I'll have gloves on, so I won't be able to scroll, and like I can't just be sitting facing, because I'm going to be cleaning. But I'm hoping that this will be like a motivation for me. Or like there's also the option of doing like a recorded video, demoing, reviewing, whatever, the scrub brush. And then we live stream just kind of wiping it all down after all the like major scrubbing has happened. That would make it a lot more like logistically possible. Yeah, Kathy, that could work. Have on the towel rack. But the issue is more like, okay, for instance, normally when I'm live streaming, I'm facing you, and so I'm talking to you, and I'm able to, as best as I can, try to keep up with the comments. But if I'm cleaning the bathtub, I'm facing the bathtub. Does that make sense? Get off of me, freaking! All right, we're going inside. But yeah, I wouldn't be able, like, because I'd be facing the bathtub because I'd be cleaning it. And so, I don't know that makes like the best situation for live streaming. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So I got to think about how we could make that work, or if we even can. I don't know. Maybe I'll just have to. Maybe. Well, here's a thought. I do a recorded video of using the scrub brush in the bathtub. And then for the live stream, we actually, like clean the sink or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. These are just things that I'm thinking. Trying to sort it out, figure it out. I've got a lot of ideas. Will they all work out? No. But I'm gonna suss it out, give it a try. Just because as fun as it is and cool as it is to just, sorry, lots of boobage there, to just like hang out and, hey Mimi, you gotta go to bed, babe. Yeah, it's time. In fact, it's past time. You go to bed. Well, wrap it up. But I love just the chit chat and hanging out and all that. Absolutely. But also, I don't always have something to talk about. And I don't always want to have something to talk about, or like something planned, something figured, you know what I mean? Like, and generally we all end up with something to talk about anyway, like that happens. But on a selfish note, I really want to come up with other things where it is like motivating for me and helps me to like get stuff done. You know what I mean? Anyway. Oh, Claudia, happy birthday to you. Oh, thank you so much for hopping in here and joining us on your birthday. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Felicidades. That is wonderful. I hope it's been a wonderful day. And I hope you have many more that are also fabulous. Oops. Someone's beeping me. What are they beeping? Freaking Walmart. Reminder, you have stuff in your cart. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, that's wonderful, Claudia. I'm so glad. Good for you. That's great. So, oh, that just reminded me. Walmart. That reminded me. So, I got a message from them in the email. Got an email from them saying that they were like giving me this refund, and I was like, "What? I haven't filed a refund in a minute, and so what's this about?" And I actually thought that was pretty cool. I still don't know like all the details really, but something that they did accidentally overcharged us like $1.50, something like that. Nothing, like a crazy amount, but in this economy, every freaking dollar adds up. It all counts. And so, yeah, I got a message from them saying they had refunded this small amount because of something on their end that they had done. It was weird. I don't know. Yeah. Let me know if you guys have ever experienced anything like that. It's strange. Ooh, another thing I got from them one time. This is totally different and like out of left pocket, but here we go. Out of left pocket. Out of left field. Or out of pocket. Whatever. Anyway, it's late. It's not super late, but I'm tired. I'm freaking tired. Once upon a time, I worked for Walmart for a long time. That's how I met James. And some years ago, it's been at least 10 years. But which even that was 10 years after I had quit from Walmart. So it had been a long time. But I got, and I have a totally different address. Oh, here comes another freaking hot flash. God, I don't know. I really think it's just getting back on my supplements and getting those in my system again, calming all this down. But holy cow, like, yikes. Yeah, let me drink some water. Oh, God, that's a bad one. Oh, but anyway, I had gotten a check in the mail along with a letter. And there had been, what are they called? A class action lawsuit that I had never involved myself in, didn't know was happening. But there had been some kind of class action lawsuit of some kind. And in whatever the ruling was, it required Walmart to send out compensation. Let me see how much battery. Oh, yeah, we're good. Compensation to former employees because of a wage dispute or unfair pay practices, or I don't know, whatever it was. And I had gotten a random check in the mail. It was not like a crazy massive amount of money, but it was helpful, useful, random, weird. Yeah. I know, Judy, that or my little fan. And my little fan can do the job. I just, don't think to carry it around with me. Freaking hot flashes. My God, they just... Ugh. Oh, Dennis, I'm so glad you brought that up because that's actually something I wanted to talk about and I totally forgot. So we were watching Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and I don't know how old that movie is. It's not like crazy old, but one thing that was showing its age was all the landline phones and like phone on the wall and then like a portable phone with the charger thing and the whatever. And I was like, look at all those landlines, my goodness. And so of course that got my brain going because this is just the way my brain works. And it's why I'm like in 100 different places most of the time, especially if I don't take my medicine that day. But right away I had to look it up. Less than 24% of homes in the US have landline phones now. In the year of our Lord, 2025. Less than 24% of homes have landline phones. Did you have any idea it was that small of a number? And it makes sense. Like, we haven't had a landline phone in several years. And even the one that we had wasn't like actually a landline phone. It was like through the internet connection. And so was really not reliable enough. Especially, remember with that old internet that we used to have? That was terrible. And so if your power went out, if your internet went down, well, then there went your phone. So what was even the point of having that? It was not like a true landline where, regardless of what's going on, as long as the phone lines are up outside and in the mountains, you're still going to be able to use the phone, you know? But anyway, yeah, less than 24% in America. It's crazy. Crazy. Like, I had no idea it had gotten down that low. I knew that, you know, obviously times are changing, whatever. And, but I didn't know it was like that drastic. But a funny thing happens. And that is that things kind of go in some cycles. Obviously some things change forever. Like, unless like we go nuclear, I really don't see us. Good night, baby. I don't see us going back to horse and carriage. You know what I mean? But some things do kind of cycle. So, for instance, we used to all have hard copies of movies and media, whether it was music, shows, films, whatever. Then, of course, we all ended up, I mean, not all, but most people here in the US ended up with streaming services. But now people are cycling back to hard copies of media to regain ownership and to be able to watch stuff whenever they want. And really, like, ownership, because you pay this fee every month, and everything wants a subscription now. Like, everything is trying to do a subscription, which is ridiculous. Some of the ones I've heard are just absolutely just insane. Some things that want to do a subscription service. But anyway, so just focusing on the streaming, though, you never know if your particular show or movie or whatever is going to be available. And so then you've got to get another streaming service to have da-da-da, and another streaming service to have da-da-da-da. And so people are cycling back to hard copies of media. Then another one, and this was really interesting to me. So when we got old gray, rest in peace, our minivan way back in the day, 14 years ago, they installed a TV for us, a fold down from the ceiling TV, which was so handy, you know, with little kids and all of that. And at the time, you would have the fold down TVs, and then from there it was like you might have a combination of fold down and then TVs on the back of the seat in front of you, whatever. And then eventually they didn't really do the fold downs. It was just the screen on the seat in front of you. And then eventually, a few years ago, it got to where cars didn't have TVs in them anymore. They weren't putting TVs in cars anymore because everyone was using tablets or cell phones. And I think, who had noticed it? I think Mariah might have pointed it out to me. I don't remember. But anyway, that had kind of been the thing. Like, they had phased out those TVs in cars. And then all of a sudden now, this is so strange, I've just been paying attention to some things because I go down rabbit holes and I just, whatever. And keep the mind learning, and I'm just curious is really what it comes down to. I'm just really curious. And come to find out, they are, not everyone, mind you, but there are automobiles that are now reincorporating TVs. Interesting, isn't that? Like, I don't know. It's very strange. I don't know. Good night, Claudia. Thank you so much for joining us, especially on your birthday. Happy birthday to you. We will see you tomorrow. I don't know what time, but we will see you tomorrow. So anyhow, yeah, things kind of, they like cycle. The other thing, and this is wild, as we were, and I had been noticing this kind of at the end of last school year, But then today, when we went to the orientation open house thing for Mariah at the junior high and walking around seeing what people were wearing, I'm like, oh my God, it is the 90s again. Oh, yeah. And I know fashion, you know, it cycles and it does that, but there's also this like strange kind of desire that you'll see like across social media and stuff like that of people pining for the 90s, whether they lived through them or not. Young folks pining for the 90s. And I think back, and it wasn't perfect. Absolutely, it was not perfect. But it was a damn good time. I think about a lot of things as far as just life situations and circumstances, stuff like that. Obviously, there were things, right? There were things that were not good. There were plenty of those. But there was a lot of good stuff, you know? There were a lot of good circumstances. You know what I mean? And so that's just a thing, like, that, like, people start kind of, you know? I pine for some of the cars from the 70s, Dennis. I need to put that video up. Try to do that tomorrow. But Reagan and I, the other weekend, went to a car show, classic car show. So much fun. Some fabulous, oh God, fabulous cars. Anyway, it is time. We are past our hour, and unfortunately, I do not get to stay up late with you tonight or hang out later this time because the kids start school tomorrow. But I absolutely see us getting together after I do yard work in the morning and get all that done and then come in to take a break. Don't know what time it'll be, but I fully anticipate that is what we will do. So please do stay tuned for some kind of announcement. I will try my damnedest to let you guys know what the plan is, what we're going to do, when we're going to do. Yes, baby.
Me and my shopping. We're gonna go to the Dripping Rock Trail. To see the...
Oh, awesome. There's a lot more light pollution over that way now, though.
Where do you think would be a good spot?
You just need to go up the canyon a little ways.
I don't know. Where?
Like up Spanish Fork Canyon. Up to that park. I'll tell you in a minute. Or Payson Canyon. Or Mapleton Canyon. Springville. Provo Canyon. Let me finish this and then I'll help you figure it out. Her and some friends are going to go up. We're surrounded by canyons. There's canyons. Well, I mean, when you're surrounded by mountains, you are also surrounded by canyons. And some are more favorable than others. They just are. But anyway, so I'm going to help her figure out where they're going to go. But please do stay tuned for what time we're going to get together during the day tomorrow. I fully expect there will be coffee happening. Coffee. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. Have a good night. Thank you so much for hanging out. And I just appreciate you all. All right. Good night. Be safe. Be well. Bye-bye.